Welcome to Police Abuse.
Hi, I'm calling because I looked at my account, which I just signed up for, and noticed that there was some comments. I'm just trying to see if there's any other services that I can use, or maybe any other information I can get to help me along with my case.
Okay, let me see if someone's available to speak with you. One moment, please.
Okay.
Hello, Ms. McElroy.
Yes.
Hi, this is Mr. Kamal with PoliceAbuse.com, and I'm sorry if there's any confusion. Basically, what happens when your complaint is initially received, we review it, so you probably got two messages indicating that the complaint was under review. Then we send you a message if we evaluated the complaint and believe that there's grounds to pursue an action against the police. So that was probably a second email or third email, and then at the end of it, you're given an option if you want additional help to call in. And generally, if we don't hear back from a new client within a few hours, we go ahead and file the complaint.
I had attended basically a house party. My ex, he was working on commissioned art piece for me. I was paying for him to basically do a painting for me. We end up, striking conversation, talking to him, talking to his neighbors. A few of the neighbors I knew because we were together and they were friends I haven't seen in a while. We had a few drinks that he provided at his residence. I used the restroom once to go inside of the apartment, and that was about it. But basically, the female dynamic was just too much for her. Basically, all these males paying attention to me because we were talking about really in-depth conversations like, just stuff like, masonry, stuff like that, things that she wouldn't have any knowledge of. So she felt left out. She does drugs. She does drugs of various sorts. I don't know what those are. I just know that she does because I've seen her in the past. And so she's older than my mother, matter of fact. She's 46, 47. My mom's 45. She comes up to me and just throws some stuff on me and then proceeds at me. And she's shorter than I am. And I push her away from me, and I shove her basically into the apartment away from me. At that point, everyone freezes. Everyone just gets, oh, my goodness. And I just like, you know what, I'm calling the police and I'm filing a report and I'm going home. And I started going home. I started walking towards my apartment, which is only a few blocks away from his. I called the police on the way there and asked the dispatcher, I'm like, I have anxiety. I explained that to the dispatcher. I might start having a panic attack. Please don't, take this wrong. The dispatcher just kind of got upset, and I was just like, please just transfer me to your non-emergency number. Just transfer me to your non-emergency number. I understand I don't want to block this line. Transfer me to your non-emergency line. They sent the car out, but they sent the car to the location of where the incident occurred, and I asked them to send the car to my residence. The police officer, I guess, was on his way to my residence, but he had taken the statement from her, from the person who assaulted me. And so they were under the impression that I was the person who started everything. And then given all that information, I was the only black person in the whole entire area. So by default, I guess it has to be me. I never took that into consideration because I just never really ran up against too many situations like that. She had said I trespassed, but my keys, and I have documentation and a friend who had to go pick the keys up because I was too scared to go back to location just because I have anxiety and I'm a bit agoraphobic. So I had asked my friend to go pick the keys up. My friend went to go pick the keys up because she tried to say that I had trespassed. But if I had trespassed, why would my car keys be in the house? Mm-hmm. And so that was a complete lie. And I don't know.
So what were they arresting you for? When the police got her version of the story and they approached you, what did they say and what reason did they
just refused to take my statement. And I said, that's fine if you guys don't want to take my statement. I'm sure I can do it either online or maybe call. I just need to document that I did call the police and that 2 officers were here. I just need your name and badge number. And when I said that to him, that's when he started having the roundabout conversation and trying to get me to say racial slurs towards him. And then that's when I got slammed on the car. I was already in a state of anxiety. So it didn't take much for me to start passing out.
What you've told me so far, from what you've told me so far, you had not committed a crime. Did they arrest you based on a crime that she was alleging?
I don't know what they arrested me on. They just took me in. They never told me why they arrested me. They told me I was resisting arrest because basically, yeah, that's what they told me. They didn't explain anything. They just said you're resisting arrest when I was passing out.
There's no underlying crime. They arrested you for resisting arrest.
Yeah, but what they put on the paper, I guess, when I went to court was like public misconduct.
Serving the peace.
Yeah. Possession of marijuana and I think like resisting arrest.
Was there a 415 charge or a 148 charge on the report?
It was like a 415 charge.
Okay, right. So the reason I know is because I was arrested on the same charge in Long Beach 20 years ago. That's what they do. And I hadn't done anything, and that's the story I was telling you about a moment ago that was filmed. They made up a story, and they basically turned it around to say I attacked the officer, which is what they're saying in your case. So let me go back to this. So you said the officer was trying to get you to say racial slurs. You're referring to what you wrote in your report when you mentioned that you had Hispanic relatives or something to that effect, and then he asked you if you were trying to call him a wetback?
Mhm.
Okay. And you didn't make any insulting remarks to him about his race or anything like that would cause him to say that, right?
As a matter of fact, I was so scared during the situation when he started doing that, I had called my mother. And he had took my phone from me and told me that my mother had told him that it was okay for him to take me to jail.
What is the officer's name? Did you ever get his name?
I never got his name. To this day, I still don't have his name. Only all the documents is at the lawyer's office that I originally hired.
Did you file his name with the Long Beach Police Department, a complaint with the Long Beach Police Department before this?
No, he did. My lawyer informed me not to file a complaint. He said by me filing a complaint that I would be putting myself in jeopardy of further police harassment. I had talked to the person who had harassed me. I don't know what she had told them, and after that they had basically tracked me down, and then when I tried to ask them if they could take a statement, they refused. And then when I asked the officer, can I please get your name and badge number, he started trying to round talk me, like kind of change the subject. And then I was like, I understand that you're underneath a lot of stress. The police are underneath a lot of stress, period. You know, I have cousins who are Hispanic, and they have to deal with a lot of stress themselves, and they're police officers. And he was like, oh, are you trying to call me a wetback? I'm like, I'm not trying to call you anything. And next thing you know, I got slammed on the car. I started hyperventilating, and next thing you know, I was passing in and out of consciousness. I saw the other officers laughing, which I think goaded him on to being as brutal as he was, because then he began frisking me, and the other officers helped him frisk me. And these are male officers. No female officer was called. I wasn't read any rights. I was told I was resisting arrest, though I was passing out. I was thrown into the back of the police car. They didn't buckle me in. They just threw me in the back. And the next thing you know, I'm at the station, and there's, you know, another police officer I don't recognize from the group that arrested me, and he's in there laughing while I'm strapped down with my arms in an awkward position, my legs behind my arms, and on some kind of weird chair. And they're over there, you know, filing their paperwork, completely ignoring me. And I'm asking, you know, I need, you know, this information needs to be, I need to know who these people are, like everyone who's here is a witness. And they started laughing. Oh, she's just going to start panicking again and pass out. I did pass out. And at that point, the only thing that woke me up was me being dragged into a cell. I was being dragged into the cell. And then they took everything. They took my jacket. They took any warm clothing that I had. I only had shirts, tank top. I was wearing socks, luckily. After that, I just basically sat in the corner hyperventilating, passing out, hyperventilating. I kept kicking the door because I kept asking for some kind of medical assistance because I know that my anxiety, when it gets high, I will start to throw up. And that has led to episodes of dehydration in the past when I first started noticing my anxiety being very high, because I do take on a lot of work. I'm in school. I have 2 bachelor's degrees, and I'm working on my master's in a program that I created. So I have a lot of high stress level, and I can't get away from that. They basically kept coming in and telling me to shut up. I kept telling them I need some kind of medication, something. I kept kicking the door to try to get some attention from one of the female prison attendants. They got upset at me for doing that and refused to give me any medical assistance. They said, "You keep doing this, we're not giving you anything." At that point, I gave up. I just figured that, whatever happens, happens. Next thing you know, like 5 or 6 hours later, I had no concept of time because there's no window. I got taken to another cell, which is what I would call a normal cell. I couldn't walk, so they had to put me in a wheelchair and wheel me into the second cell. And then when they saw me throwing up, I started throwing up, and I kept asking, "Could someone please get me something?" And I kept trying to cool my stomach down with water, because I know some of this because my grandmother was a nurse. So I know some of, something to help me. So I tried to cool my stomach down with some water, but that didn't do much because I had nothing on my stomach. I started throwing up bile. And then after I started throwing up bile, I started throwing up blood. And that's when basically everyone started coming in and getting worried. After that point, they brought medicine, but I was forced to clean up my own puke before I could even take the medicine. They said, "You have to clean your puke up, otherwise they won't give you any medication." So I'm over here on the floor in my own puke trying to clean it up, and, in hopes that they'll give me some kind of medication to keep me from throwing up blood. Once they noticed that some of what I was throwing up was blood, they immediately tried to rush me out and process me out. I got a few bits of Ativan, which I threw up because at that point there was nothing I can do to hold anything down. One lady started freaking out. One of the female attendants started freaking out. At that point, the nurse on staff realized that my condition was serious and went to talk to one of the male prison guards. He came in. He basically told me I had to stop, panicking, stop all that, or you're going to send me into a mental ward. I'm like, you know what? I called the police, and the police arrested me. And you guys have me in here. I've been throwing up blood, and I don't know what else you guys want. He basically was like, okay, after he saw the blood that I was throwing up, he basically got the paperwork, got me. They had to drag me to have my fingerprints taken and have my mug shots taken. I couldn't walk. I was dragged, so I had bruises on my arm in the shape of hands, like hand shaped. I have the picture of me just basically face just turned down because I couldn't focus at the camera because I had started to pass out by that point. They put me in a wheelchair, wheeled me out after they took my fingerprints, basically put my hand on a thing and took my fingerprints, and then, wrote medical whatever for the reason why that they were basically kicking me out of the jail. And I sat there in the waiting room waiting for a friend to come pick me up, throwing up in a garbage bag, because that's all that I had.